Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. I typically don't crawl a lot when it's summer here just because my favorite crawling spot kind of fills up with water. But this newer company just reached out to me on Facebook. They're called Sequre, which I haven't heard of. But they asked me if I wanted to try out their ESC and motor. And it also comes with a Wi-Fi adapter. And I'm always interested in trying out new electronics. I kind of geek out over that stuff from like my drone days. And so they sent these out to me. They sent me an ESC and a motor. This is a 70 amp ESC with Escape32, which I haven't tried yet. You can also get these with AM32 and BL-Heli32 because it's all the same MCU. It's just, the different software that runs the ESC. This one does come pre-wired with your receiver lead, XT60, and bullets. And the motor came with bullets, but I cut them off so I could weigh the motor. This does also have a Beck. And so that big gray box on the top there, that's your inductor for the Beck. That's just what controls the power. That's not going to be a Beck that runs your servo. That would just be for the receiver. And so, like I was saying, I haven't heard of this company before, but this ESC is like a typical drone-sized ESC. I'm not saying that it's just a repurposed ESC. I honestly don't know because, again, I haven't heard of this company. I even reached out to my buddy Chris that I used to work with at Thrust UAV because he's had a lot more contact with China than I have recently, and he hasn't even heard of this company. So, as far as I understand, they've been around since 2019, and they started out making like tools, like soldering irons and stuff like that. But they've more recently been branching out into electronics. Like, so if you go to their website, they've got a bunch of stuff that's marketed for drones, and I guess now they're entering into the crawler space. The motor, it's one of those low profile like snub nose style motors. It says it's a 3625 1800 kV. This motor with this length of wire came in at about 89 grams, which is pretty good. So if you look at like this snub nose, this is 85, and then this Rhino Armis 12 was also 85. So it's about 4 grams heavier, but there's some interesting stuff going on here. So if you look at the stator is the part with the copper on it. You can see on the Sequre motor, the laminations, the green part, they go farther inward towards the bearing. So the laminations are actually longer. They're deeper. So you're getting more copper in there. And I think the windings, it's hard to see. The windings, they might be the same thickness, but obviously with the laminations being bigger or longer or deeper or whatever, there's obviously more copper. And then the other thing I noticed is if you look at the magnets, on the Rhino, they're a certain size, and then the magnets on the Sequre motor are like way bigger. I don't know what type of magnets they are. It's pretty common that they use like N52 magnets. But typically when you have bigger magnets and more copper, you just end up getting more power, more torque, or what have you. So I'll be curious to try this motor. It should be like for a low pro motor like this, it should be pretty powerful. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick tabletop before I get this stuff installed because I'm gonna decase this. I'm gonna cut the shrink off and redo the wiring because I like to do my wiring neat and tidy. I mean, pre-wired ESCs, these are good for people that don't want to mess with it, but that's just way too much excess wire. Like, I'm gonna put this in my F3, and so if I bring this around, So if you look at my F3, this is just a Wraith 32 ESC, but I like to wire everything to length. You know, I don't think it's going to fit on the skid like that, so I might have to move the receiver. But I'm basically just going to take this like connector off because it's got my servo connector on it. It's got my lead for my voltage telemetry. I'm just going to desolder this from this Wraith 32 and pop it onto the new ESC. So yeah, just a quick tabletop before I cut everything up, and then we'll come back and get some running footage, maybe play around with the gearing, and we'll see how it goes.